So, good morning from Florida. I just thought I would show you my Scandinavian wood style Christmas project on the screen and make a little video about it just to give you some ideas about how to put it together. So here it is. This is it basically, and the parts that go with it. This is how it goes together in a way. Let's put this one to the back. So you've got the back piece, which looks like that. Then you've got, let's see if I can get hold of it here, maybe here. Yes, then there's another row piece that goes in front of that, which has these three little houses glued to it afterwards. Then there's a snowflake piece, and there are two trees at the sides, two angels and two deer. And if you see, they all fit through slots in the base piece of craft board. So this is all Cricut craft board, which I really like. It cuts really well. It's got a sort of, it's like a firm, smooth cardstock, only it's got more body to it generally than cardstock alone. So these all fit through the base, and then the tabs fold back underneath. You glue those down, and I actually put two pieces of that together to give it a bit more weight, and then I glued those to chipboard pieces. You could just use one. I used two. It depends how heavy your cardstock chipboard is. So that's the base of that. These bigger pieces do not have tabs attached to them. I attach them separately, and they're these pieces here. The narrower bit fits on the shaped piece, and the wider bit goes through the slot, and I put one each side on each of these pieces. I layered them between the shapes, one between the front and one between the back, and then spread them out in opposite directions and glued them down. I actually did 4 pieces of this. Generally with craft board you wouldn't need more than 3 pieces, maybe even 2, but because I wanted it to represent wood, I used 4 pieces. I think I used 3 pieces of this one and 3 pieces of this one, and all these little shapes were their normal layers plus an extra layer at the back with a tab on it. These pieces here are what makes the raised base a little platform, so you would need another piece of chipboard or another 2 pieces depending how you're going to do it, and they all stick round together, and these stick over the top for decoration. And then you just put this piece with all the decorations on top of your platform, on top of the tabs. And I forgot what I was going to say, something. Well, that's basically it. Oh, and this here, this is a piece of, it's meant to represent a piece of vellum, and I put that in this piece between the layers so that I could put candles behind it and the light would shine through. That was an afterthought, so I did that afterwards. It's optional, you don't need to do that if you don't want to. And I think that's about it that I wanted to tell you for this, and then I'll take you to the actual piece and show you it in detail. As you can see, on these little houses, angels and deer of various layers. I used some gold cardstock, some cream cardstock, and there's little, I used a sort of off-white for these little bits on the fronts of the trees. You could leave any of those off if you didn't want to, because they're quite small, but I didn't find them that difficult to construct. So I'm going to leave you now and come back in a second with the object, well, decoration, whatever we'd like to call it, and show you it in detail. So here I am back again, and I'll show you the finished decoration, or tableau, I think is quite a good word for it. My Scandinavian wood style, because it's not wood of course, Christmas decoration. And there it is, close up. And you can see the layers when I put it sideways. There's a tall layer at the back with the Christmas trees on it. There's a second layer here which has the houses on it. There's like a big snowflake at the front, and then we have the trees and the angels and the deer, which are layered up in shades of brown, gold, a little bit of cream and a little bit of a sort of winter white colour on the trees. And the pieces, as I say, are pushed through slots in the Cricut craft board, which I'll show you in a moment. And then the flaps are pushed in either direction and glued underneath. And then that piece is glued to a piece of chipboard to give a firm base. And I held it down while I waited for them all to stick firmly. And but before I did that, I coloured them all a little bit with some Tim Holtz distress inks. I actually used 3 different kind of browns, but I don't think that's necessary really. I think we've got vintage photo, brushed corduroy, or frayed burlap. But really you could just choose any one of those if you don't have all 3 of them. And I also used Tim Holtz Picket Fence, which is white, to give a few white highlights on it to make it look more wintry. And because when you see these wooden decorations in the stores, they seem to have a whitish look to them. And I also added a little glitter. I used these Martha Stewart fine white glitter and mica flake glitter, but I only used them very sparingly. I wanted just to give it a little bit of a sparkle, and also where the slots are on the deer, just to make sure that they don't show, I just put a little glitter around their feet. And then it's on a base platform of another piece of chipboard, like this one underneath, and those strips that I showed you in the video, and all the tabs are joined to the edge of each piece. I did the bottom part first, and then this strip, decorative strip, is put across the top. You'll find that the 3 strips are too long to go all the way around, but you can just cut the last one to size, which is what I did. And that's basically how I did it. So I don't think I've got anything. There's 4 layers here, as I say. I think there are 3 layers on the second one and 3 layers on the snowflake. And these angels and deer have several layers already, but I did put an extra layer on the back with the tab on it so that it would fit through the base. And there we are. I have mentioned this before, but people do ask me. So here's the Cricut craft board. It's really just like a firm cardstock, really. It's not particularly, it's thicker than general cardstock, but it's not like chipboard. But it cuts very well, and it's very smooth, and it just gives a nice firm base to things. I would usually only use a couple of layers if I were making something, but I wanted this to represent wood, so I did put 4 layers here. And then the chipboard I use is just looks like that. Again, sometimes people ask me what is chipboard. This is a medium weight chipboard. It's like again a dense cardboard, but much thicker than the craft board. Your Cricut will cut it. I have to say, particularly at the moment, because I think they've changed the settings, it's a little reluctant to do it. You might need to press the go button again before you take it out and let it cut through it again. And they've taken away the heavy chipboard setting, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe they're getting ready for the knife blade, fingers crossed, or maybe it needs adjustment. But you can use the mat board setting, and as I say, run it through a couple of times to get it to cut through. If any of the fibres are still not quite through, you can cut those away at the end with a pair of scissors fairly easily. When I stick my layers together, I normally use this art glitter glue. It's called glitter glue because originally I think it was for the purpose of gluing glitter to items, but it has no glitter in it, it's just a white glue. But with the fine tip, I just put dots of glue on all these fine parts and stick the layers together. I didn't bother to spray these together because they aren't very large pieces, and it was easier just to do it by hand with this glue here. So I hope you like that. I'm rather pleased with the result. Did I mention that I put 2 candles on the back, and there's that little extra platform that I glued to it afterwards because I wanted to make sure that the candles didn't fall off the back. They probably wouldn't. You could probably leave this part off, but it does help. It's just a piece of plain chipboard I cut out to shape, and it helps to give a bit of stability to this top layer, which is quite tall, and it might want to move slightly, and it just gives it a bit of stability there. So that's what I did. So I'll say goodbye from Cherry in Florida, and I'll see you again soon, I imagine, with another project. Bye.